Johnny Fisher, Romford Bull, thank you very much for joining us again. Ringside at Josh Warrington. Disappointing end for Josh. We'll talk about him first. What did you make of what happened tonight?
Yeah, the whole card was great. The Warrington Lara fight was just catching fire. Really excited. The atmosphere was electric, and something else that happens like that, there's not much you can do about it. I'm gutted for Warrington, I'm gutted for Lara as well, because I'm sure he wanted to put on a performance. So we want to see it again because how exciting the first one was, and obviously we want to get all these fans back in somewhere one day.
I think that was the special part, wasn't it? It was the fans. Someone's given us some nice little light. Look at that.
Very nice.
You're getting a tan over there.
Yeah.
The fans back in it, and to be fair, there's a real show been put on. Coming out with the fireworks and pyrotechnics and everything else. What difference do you think it made tonight having those fans back in it?
It did. I feel like Warrington, his game plan was, I thought he wouldn't have boxed like he sort of boxed similar to what he was doing in the first one. Like he was standing and trading in that last round. I don't know if that was a wise move or not, but under the stress of the crowd, maybe he thinks he's got to do that. It does weird things to you when you fight in front of the crowd. I've only fought in front of small crowds as an amateur and stuff, but it does make you act differently. So it's a completely different thing when you fight behind closed doors to when you fight in an arena with 20,000 people watching. So it obviously had an impact.
What did you think of the other fights on the card? I want to start with the Conor Benn fight. Obviously, that's a card headlining fight. You know the calibre of that fight. We saw it was supposed to headline, and we know why with COVID and everything that was pushed back. What did you make of the fight? Now we finally got to see it.
Yeah, Granados was a tricky opponent, really. Not the biggest puncher, but he knew how to weather a storm, and it was frustrating Conor Benn in there a little bit. But listen, he always says he's still learning, and he's crushing it in the gym, but he's still learning. Yeah. And it's his 20th fight, and Granados is a good, credible opponent, and it's a victory, another victory on the sheet. And yes, he looked a bit wild at points, but that's because of the sheer aggression of Conor Benn. It's exciting to watch.
How important is it not to rush Conor Benn, or is it now he's on a roll, get him out? Because we hear all kinds of names being linked to him. Where do you think, or where do you think he will go? Maybe not where you want him to see, but where do you think he will go?
I think he needs to fight some domestic opponents in terms of. I think Florian Marku, Conor Benn's a great fight. I'm not just saying that because I'm the best jam. I'm just looking at that fight. I think it's a great fight because I think he's had 20 fights now. I mean, you can't say you're still building that. 20 fights is sort of let off the leash. Some people get let off the leash at 15 fights, so he's at 20 fights now. Sort of where do you go from here? And where I think he should go from here, where if he doesn't want to go up to world level, is go to that domestic scene and get a good scratch with someone there. I think Florian Marku is perfect for that.
I think a good thing about Florian Marku is it sells as well. I mean, let's be honest, it's a business. If it makes dollars, it makes sense, etc., etc. That's a fight that sells.
The fight at the O2 between Florian Marku and Conor Benn, that's a massive event, that's a headline event, so that is what the fans want to see. And I mean, that was Conor's 20th fight, Florian's game to have it, so why not put it on?
Just a quick look at the female boxing. Katie Taylor's fought tonight, Ebony Bridges fought tonight. We are getting towards that stage. I don't think we're there yet, if I'm completely honest. But the UFC were there a few years ago. Ronda Rousey, she became a headline. All of a sudden, nobody was saying it's a female fighter anymore. It's just a fighter. Yeah. I feel like boxing is moving that way as well. I don't know if you agree on it.
Yeah, definitely. Listen, I'll be honest, I didn't really watch women's boxing until a couple of years ago when it started bursting on the scene. But I watched the Ebony Bridges Shannon Courtney fight, and I just thought, what a great fight that was. I've seen some good fights in the UFC, as you said, at the T-Mobile Arena when I was out in Las Vegas. I watched a good fight out there. So yeah, it is moving along, and it's exciting to watch as well. And there's a place for it, and it's rightly being brought into professional boxing as well.
Final one on tonight before we move on to your career. Warrington, Lara 3. Do you think we have to see that now?
I think we've got to see it at some point. Maybe put it on another card as a chief support or something, or find a venue indoors somewhere for January, February next year. I don't know how it's going to work. It's not my decision, but everyone will want to see it. And if you can pack out arenas like this with that, then it makes sense to do it again.
Yeah, it's definitely a sellable fight. Maybe his eye just needs a bit of time to heal.
Yeah, it does, a little bit of recuperation from that, and give people a couple of months to come off it, and then maybe early next year. 100%.
Let's talk about you then for a moment, Johnny. I mean, last time we spoke, it was just before fight camp. You've gone into fight camp and done exactly what you do, if we're being honest, against Danny Whittaker. Talk to us a little bit about where you are now.
Yeah, I've just started camp. I've had a good couple of weeks off. I think I needed it mentally to have a rest, not just physically. Physically, I can have a few days off and I'll be wanting to train again. But it's more the mental side of it, not thinking about what you're eating, not thinking when you've got to get up and go training. I went down to Cornwall, had a relax. Now I've been back in training since Thursday. Shape hasn't changed too much. I haven't got too fat. I haven't had too many Chineses, so I'm ready to go again. I'm refreshed. I'm ready to go. I'm itching to get back in there and fight.
I want to ask you opponents and everything else, but I went to Cornwall myself. Whereabouts did you go?
Went down to Holywell Bay, just outside of Newquay. Really nice. So some nice lodges. Just you walk 10 minutes, you're down the valley into the sea. Nowhere better than Cornwall. When the weather's good, I don't want to go anywhere else.
Lovely. Anyway, we move on. I want to talk to you about you then. You know, what's your plans? I understand if you can't disclose names or anything, but what are your plans for the next 3 months, 6 months, 12 months?
More fights, stay active, fight abroad. I'd love to fight in America, fight in Europe somewhere, fight in front of my fans, my supporters who have been really loyal to me in the pandemic and things like that. And I hope I get a good allocation of tickets for the fight that I'm meant to be on at the end of October, because I've got a lot of interest. And for me, it's going to be one of the next steps I've got to face is fighting in front of arenas and crowds like this. Because I bring a lot of support, and I've got to get used to doing that. I'm 3-0, I'm 22 years old. I've got a very, very long way to go. I'm very humble in what I believe I can do, but I know I've got the attributes, I've got the power, I've got the skills and the team around me to do well. But it has to be built slowly, it has to be built properly, and I think at Matchroom with the Zone and with my team with S-Jam and Mark Tibbs, I can do that.
You've mentioned S-Jam a couple of times there. I think I've seen Sam kicking around here somewhere tonight as well. Just talk to about how important it is to you to be part of that team at the moment, because Sam, in his credit, he's doing an incredible job. You know, all of a sudden, fighters who sign with him, it's a talking point. You know, they are known for that now. So what's that like working with him?
If I wasn't managed by Sam, I wouldn't want to be boxing. I wouldn't be managed by anyone else. Me and Sam like that. He's my mate. He's not just my boxing trainer, my boxing manager. Sorry. When I first got into talks with him and stuff, and just doing a bit of sparring with Joe, it was never even discussions that I was going to turn professional or be managed by him. It just organically grew, and I think that's the best way it could have been. Listen, they're my bread and butter, being with S-Jam Boxing, with Adam Marley as well. So he's just, you know what he's like. He puts everything. The fighter comes first all the time, and everyone wants a manager like that. And there's no better one to do it than Sam Jones.
Well, Johnny, it's getting a bit nippy out here. I don't know about you. You look all right. I've got a big coat on. I'm still cold.
I'm all right. Summer's still here, but winter is definitely coming.
Yeah, I'm a bit soft, I think. Softer than you, anyway. Listen, Johnny, it's always a pleasure, mate. We'll let you crack inside. Thanks very much.
Thank you very much, mate.